Hey, 2 days ago, I tried to find my little grooming kit. It's a little metal box with Eddie Bauer, maybe 4 inches by 4 inches, a half an inch thick. Had some tweezers, a little pair of manicure scissors that are about an inch long or half an inch long. I needed to cut something. Anyway, it was stolen out of my apartment because I just used it recently to cut the stems on these flowers. So it was just stolen and I'm very upset. One more person again has been in my place, and that was 2 days ago on Thursday. So on Thursday, my little Eddie Bauer grooming kit disappeared here out of my apartment. Now today, $50. So you have to call the police when it happens. Hi, yes, I live in transitional halfway house for homeless people, and I had $50 stolen out of my room today. 1357 Valley Place, Southeast, zip code 20020. My name is Nathaniel, Nathaniel. 202-509-6853. Thank you. I don't know about your city, but in Washington, D.C., if you have to call the police, you call 911. 911 is initially set up for emergencies. Now I guess it's just anybody who has to call the police, they have to call 911 in D.C. It doesn't really make sense to me, like cognitively or logically, but they're on their way now, and I'll talk to them about what was taken from me. So the police just came here, looked around and left and took a report. This is the police officer's name, Andrew Kekacs. Basically on Thursday, my grooming kit went missing, and then basically today, $50 went missing when I went up to Capitol Hill. And that's him leaving right now. And I don't really like to involve the police unnecessarily in my life, and I never really have too much, except for when you're robbed out of your apartment and you don't have a key to your apartment. Even, it's just, it's unacceptable, especially for me being a homeless man on disability and being taken advantage of me. And then guess what? Now the power's off in here again, which is the stove, the fridge, and the bathroom, which it was working just before the officer arrived. So this is ridiculous, and I hope that the transfer to the other housing place comes through quickly. Today is Sunday, March 30th, 2025, and I'm watching Ip Man 3. I got one of my paintings here. That's actually pretty cool. And looks like his car number is 7011. I don't know, but I don't know if I've ever seen that man before, actually. But whatever the case may be, this is the report number for my $50 missing. I didn't report my grooming kit missing, but $50, I begged for that money. It was right here on my change plate. And it was a 10, 3 5s, and 25 $1 bills. I left it sitting there when I went to go have tea on Capitol Hill today. So anyways, frustrations, anger, and years of being taken advantage of and shit upon by the system. That's why people end up like that right there. Suit on a milk crate, buck naked. Looks like I'm crying. Yo, why these people just come out of my apartment? All of them just came out of my apartment. Why are y'all in my fucking apartment? They were just in my apartment. So what's going on right now is the government's trying to say a lot of tax dollars are being wasted. And Congress just passed a budget where they're cutting $1 billion out of the spending budget for Washington, D.C. and trying to end Washington, D.C.'s home rule, which would mean they would remove the mayor as well as the congresswoman. Now, the interesting thing is this same regime who says that they want to take this $1 billion from D.C. gave a man from South Africa who emigrated to Canada $3 trillion for some new government efficiency agency. Before he was even in office, Donald Trump said that of Elon Musk. He's giving him all this money and power. Now, mind you, back in the year 2008, our entire federal deficit was $3 trillion. So you got to figure that shit out. And then another thing I've figured out is there's lots and lots of groups of people around here, and there's lots and lots of children that don't seem to have parents. Then there's these scientists who decided to collect eggs and sperm from lots of people and make a lot of babies by renting wombs from women in other countries like China, South Africa, and Brazil, India, maybe Russia, that kind of stuff. So they rented the wombs and made all these children, and now they're being pimped around here and used in these social games from these theater or thespian people. They're trained by places like NYU Experimental Theater, UCLA Experimental Theater, Corcoran Experimental Theater. And the Corcoran School of Arts is right over by the White House. And that's where you see a lot of people representing from VOLO, V-O-L-O. And that's how they train these groups to respond to psychic cues, which are called magic or telepathy. Also visual cues in the community. Also video cues that you can see on videos and online on different people such as Twitch and Instagram and TikTok. And they're also part of the Poor People's Campaign. Now, sadly, the Poor People's Campaign was started by Dr. Martin Luther King, and now it's been abused even by Shiloh Baptist Church, where I attend church and probably will never go back to. However, I can say that confidently because I'm a homeless man who's attended there for years. One of their high priests is the priest who serves at the White House, and he also used to serve in the mayor's office here, Bowen. However, he didn't help me with my homelessness or my poverty. And in fact, when I showed up at church a few weeks ago, he said I didn't even look homeless. No shit, asshole. I don't look homeless. I am, though. It's because I bought suits when I got disability money. So I'm guaranteed a life of poverty now in the United States with $1,650 some at the age of 53 to live on every month. And when I got on disability, guess what they decided to do? They cut my benefits of food stamps down to $90. So now I get $200 less in food stamps almost just because I'm getting $1,600. Now, a lot of these people who walk around here doing this VOLO stuff or this Poor People's Campaign or this social theater, they all have really big budgets and really nice contracts and money. And they get paid by social media, they get paid by the government, they get paid by nonprofits, churches, and their parents get paid in this whole scheme cooked up by the Freemasons, trying to use the United States government and the United States people as a fucking joke on the world because they've drugged us all. And they've told us not to believe in God while putting in God we trust on the money. Which brings me to the Federal Reserve. If you've got a bunch of unsavory people right now with billions and billions and billions of stolen cash in $100 bills, do what we did in the past. Redesignate the Federal Reserve. Everyone has to turn their paper money in and exchange it. And then you just solve the problem about all that fucking money. Now, as far as all these social theater actors and all these kids that don't actually have parents because they were science experiments, well, don't feel bad, kids. I'm a science experiment too. And this was done to me by Carnegie Mellon University, NIH, Westinghouse, George Washington University, and the Strass families and the Vizdos families of Pittsburgh. And I just found out Vizdos, another word for it is loser. So my last name means loser in Slovak, and I have it tattooed across my chest. Oh well, who cares? They think Slovaks are the lowest people in the world. We are not. The lowest people in the world are the ones who planned all this bullshit on humanity and on the world, and who use all these children in their wars. They put children in the line of fire ahead of adults. And some of these adults will pimp out their own children. And let's remember, pimps and drug dealers control the sex trafficking, the slave market, and human trafficking, and all the children being stolen, gang raped into the gang culture, tattooed, and either kept in their communities or shipped around the world. Most children who disappear are returned to their families. And then they're on call for whatever fucking devil scares them enough to do what they tell them to do. So, I don't appreciate also all the fake accents. A lot of groups of people walk around having fake accents, but they're really just from the United States. And they play games on the military. They play games on the police here in Washington, D.C. at all levels. They play games on the staff members of the government. And then they actually have a bunch of children with fake IDs. And a lot of them are women, because men are susceptible to sexual favors more than women are generally. So a lot of young women here in DC are like 15 and 14 and 16 with IDs that say they're older, and they're working in these halls all around here. Who cares? Who cares? Well, I'll tell you, I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court cares. That's why they're starting to do injunctions and stop a few things. And I'm pretty sure half of the government cares. The question that I have is, do enough soldiers care and do enough police care to stop the abduction and rape of children worldwide, which is fueled by the United States of America, and it always has been. That was the purpose for the Vietnam conflict and the Korean conflict, to get as many subservient, small, sexy women involved as possible and tell them to do what the fuck they're told. Nothing else. Same thing with El Salvador. All this shit and all these private prisons, and now moving them to other countries with deportations of people without even due process. They're taking fathers out of families so they can rape the women and children. They're fucking raiding buildings without even police badges. Elon Musk is from South Africa. If you do anything that his people say that aren't fucking registered law, you're a fucking Nazi. And that means not see, not say, not hear. You didn't see nothing, you didn't say nothing, you didn't hear nothing. And guess what? The G-men will pay you for that, or whoever's paying for it, they'll pay you for it, to not see, not say, not hear. Guess what? They paid everybody in Germany too, you dumb fucks. Hey, what do you do when you're on Capitol Hill heading back to Anacostia and you walk by the Supreme Court and you see the bomb squads at the Supreme Court or outside there on the street? Well, I don't know what you do, but I take pictures and video because I'm part moron and I think it's fun. And I just watched a movie about a bomb squad on TV yesterday or the day before. Anyways, I don't know what else to tell you here from Washington, D.C. other than, hey, check out what I just said right over there on Capitol Hill, and check out these pictures of me and the dude from the bomb squad. Blah!